What's going on, you guys? Slim here with a new video today, and today, you guys, my boy Lawrence Jones, he took down first place at Top Choice Gaming. You already know our locals, links in the description if you guys want to come hang out with your boy. Literally, he took it down with one of my favorite decks right now, Floowandereeze. I think this deck is insane. I think it's starting to get a lot more recognition. You know, Hanko Chow making top 4 at the YCS really brought it to the forefront to a lot of players, and I'm glad to see, you know, players that I know are playing this deck and finding success with it. He's topped with it multiple times. We're finally covering it here on the channel, so shout out to you, bro. Congratulations on doing so well with this deck, because I definitely want to see a lot more players playing this. Personally, this is the deck I'm playing, and I'm learning a lot just from the builds that Lawrence brings forth, as well as a lot of the builds in the Floowandereeze group. So yeah, we're gonna go over it, and I'm just gonna give you guys my thoughts on it, as I think it's definitely a deck that, even though it's still a little more underrepresented, I think we're gonna start to see more players picking it up, because it is a really good meta call, especially in this crazy DPE scythe format that we have. But if you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. You guys will be notified whenever I upload. Also, come check me out over on Twitch, links in the description. If you want to build this deck yourself, use my TCG player link. It helps the channel out. I appreciate it. Yada yada, you guys know the spiel. Let's get into it. I love Floowandereeze. I think the deck is awesome. It really gives you something else to play if you're not trying to play like a wombo combo deck, if you're not trying to play, you know, a scythe lock deck, or pretty much what the format has become is just, you know, DPE scythe, just scythe lock everything. And this deck literally just couldn't care less. You don't go into your extra deck. If you do, the game has just gotten to a weird state, but you never really lose to scythe at all. It just kind of does nothing to you. So I really do like this deck, but let's get into it. So of course, he is playing 2 copies of N-Pen now. I know Hanko Chow did play only 1 copy. I myself have chosen to play 2 copies. Lawrence has chosen to play 2 copies. I know a lot of other Flunder players are choosing to play 2 copies. It's just good to have the second copy. You know, again, it is player preference, because people do say that the second one can brick your hands. It just really comes down to personal preference. I think having the second one, though, you know, in a grind game can be really important. If you do lose access to this card and you are unable to retrieve it, there are ways to retrieve it, but sometimes, you know, just having that second copy can be really important. And sometimes putting up double M-Pen in a game is definitely game. So this card is just crazy. This is like the heart and soul of the deck, along with, of course, the 1 Ryza and the 1 copy of the Big Chicken, the Apex Avion. Both these cards are just really strong in the deck, searchable through Eglin, and then this can literally just be one of your protection outs to them trying to get over your barrier statue. Just being able to spin their normal summon is crazy. Being able to spin a card from the graveyard, being able to loop D-Shifter is just ridiculous. Like I said in my profile, should not be a thing, but it's just insane that this deck can do it. And then, of course, when you need the Omni Negate, you have the Big Chicken. And then, of course, triple D-Shifter. Like I said, if your deck can play this card. And this is really the deck that really utilizes this card to like its full potential, I believe, because being able to use it multiple times, being able to recycle it is absolutely crazy. The fact that you benefit from all your monsters being banished is just insane. And Shifter could just be game ending. Like literally, you can make your opponent pass their turn. Like this deck obviously wants to go first, but literally opening Shifter, going second, you can get them to pass their turn, and it's literally like you went first. So this card is fantastic. So the really interesting thing about his build is he did choose to play a second copy of Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. Now this card obviously is insane, can lock out a lot of the format, because not too many decks do have wins, you know, outside of course of playing the mirror match, but this card can just literally lock a game. With your standard hand, you know, you hope to open with an N-Pen and a Barrier Statue, and having access to the second one if the first one is dealt with can definitely just be game against the opponent, because they definitely won't see the second one coming. I think that this card is just insane, and even though I haven't tested 2 myself, it's definitely something that I may consider in the future, since Lawrence did find success with it. Again, this card is such a powerhouse, and then with some of the other cards you can see in the deck, he's able to protect the Barrier Statue, and all you really have to do is just stop your opponent's normal summon. If they're not playing any wins or anything, they pretty much just lose, pass the turn back to you, and you can OTK them the next turn. So this card is just fantastic. Hand traps, of course, triple Ash, just super standard. There's still a bunch of cards to Ash. While I didn't play Ash in my build, it's something that I am considering. This card being able to stop Fusion Destiny is crazy. Being able to stop certain cards in this format is crazy. So Ash is still just generic enough to be really good in the format, like it is pretty much every format. And then, of course, for the little birds, we got 3 copies of Eglin that searches your big birds. You got the 1 copy of Street. That was something that I am going to probably test going forward, is cutting down from 2 copies of Street to 1. Having the second copy, I don't really think it will come up that much through testing. I can see why a lot of players have cut to 1, just to lower, you know, any problems of bricking that you might have with just the little birds that don't do anything without setup. Of course, 3 Robina, best card in the deck. It's just like the 1 card starter of the deck. And then you've got, of course, the 1 copy of Toucan to get your banish cards. And then he is playing the DD Crow. This was something that Hanko brought to the forefront. Just gives you that option to, you know, banish DPE, banish a problematic card, and it is searchable. So this card is just really strong in the deck, so I really like it. That's it for the monsters. For the spells, he is playing the 6 pots, 3 prosperity and 3 duality. If you have Prosperity, play Prosperity. If you don't have Prosperity, play Extra. It just alters the extra deck, but honestly, the extra deck doesn't matter. The reason why I prefer Prosperity along with a lot of other players, just being able to dig 9 is super important, and just, this in conjunction with Duality is insane, so I really do like that aspect. You really do get to dig for what you need for your missing piece, depending on how your hand is shaped, so I really like these 6 pots in the deck. And then he is playing Triple Book of Moon. This is something that I'm going to visit again myself. I think this card is a lot better than I gave it credit for. It just helps you get your plays through, being able to dodge cards that can get in your way, like getting Valor, Imperm, being able to book your bird and then still play through is great. But not only that, this card is insane at protecting your barrier statue. Again, the opponent does their normal summon. If you have the Book of Moon or you have the trap card, you're able to interact with them with Rise Up. But Book of Moon, being able to just book the opponent's monsters, stop their turn, or stop them from attacking over your barrier statue is super strong. So I think this card is extremely versatile in the deck, and definitely something that I'm probably going to revisit. Is probably something that will become a forefront in like Flunder decks going forward. Even with the new advent of Adventure, I think having this card as extra protection is super important too. So I do like the fact that he is maxing out in this deck. Then of course a 1 call by, that's just standard for any hand trap that gets in the way. Also can banish Golden Lord if it comes up in that matchup. Then of course 3 of the advent of Adventure. This card is just ridiculous. Like I said, does everything you could want it to do for this deck, and then you gain 500. Why do you gain 500? I have no idea why they added that, but it gives you a way to deal with the pesky time rule. So this card is insane. Then he is playing just 1 copy of our Monarch Stormforth in the Unexplored Winds. This can also help you mulligan your hand, so this card is super versatile. Only 1 is really necessary and it's searchable, so card's solid. Then of course triple map. This field spell is just insane. Being able to play on your opponent's turn, being able to turn your awkward hands into playable hands is great. Just if you open like 1 bird in this, you can actually like combo a lot of times. So I really like the fact that this card is just it does everything for the deck you could want it to. So I really love 3 copies of the map. And then of course 3 copies of Imperm. If you notice, his hand traps are just Ash, Imperm, Shifter, and the DD Crow, similar to Hanko's list, and it's just very effective at getting everything done. All these cards can play under Shifter outside of Crow. Like Crow being able to just have that extra versatility is just nice, especially at times you don't open Shifter. Being able to bait out the DPE and then banish it with Crow is really solid. And then lastly, my favorite trap in the deck, the Flundereeze in Dreaming Town. Getting to play on your opponent's turn is crazy. You also get the UTC effect, so that's just really solid. But that's for his main deck. It's 42 cards. Extra deck, I'm just gonna fan over it. It's basically just Entis it's just targets for like Maximus. You've got the Entises, you got the Wing Pegasus, you have your Zeus package, just any way you can make it. And then he is playing Link monsters so that if they do randomly come up, you do have All Mirage, Link Karibo, you do have the the Farigite, you do have the Wind Charmer, and then you could link into the Nightmares and link all the way up into Access Code Talker. Will it happen? Probably not that much, but you just have the option for it. And again, it's just an extra deck. You want to have an extra deck, and it just gives you some what if situation cards that might come up in this deck. But most of the time you're not even touching this thing, and it just becomes your prosperity food. But it's just good to have versatility in it overall. And then lastly, a side deck, he is playing 2 copies of Raigeki. Hanko did play this at the YCS, so it's starting to see a lot of attention, just being a really just good overall board wipe. A lot of players don't see it coming, and it can just help you in a lot of games. Baiting out negates, activating Raigeki is crazy, or comboing it with Dark Ruler. You just go Dark Ruler, Raigeki the whole board, and you just win, so it's nuts. Same thing with Lightning Storm. This is just versatile for the front row or back row, so just like this card in general. And of course, he's playing the Harpy's Feather Duster along with the triple copies of the Dark Ruler No More. This card is just an essential going second, being able to break a board, because his deck is very good at breaking boards, so having Dark Ruler to just negate the whole board and then play through it is awesome. And the 3 copies of Twin. If you notice, all his spell and trap removal, similar to Hanko's, is Lancia proof. He's not playing Cosmic Cyclone, he's not playing Evenly Matched. While those cards are very solid, Lancia is probably one of the #1 cards that gets sided against this deck, so being able to have cards that play right around that and still accomplish your goal is super important. So I like the fact that Flunder players are starting to do that, because it just makes it so that you don't have dead cards when they Lancia you. So very, very solid. And then of course 3 copies of the Wind Button, Harpy's Featherstorm. Literally says your opponent can't play. So yeah, this card is bonkers, and if for some reason it gets destroyed, you can actually search Harpy's Feather Duster, so that's even more crazy. So just love this card. I think this card is just ridiculous for this deck. And then last but not least, he plays the counter trap, the Flundereeze and the Scary Sea. What it does, when your opponent would special summon a monster, if you control a face-up tribute summon monster and no special summon monsters, which we never have, you negate the summon, return the monster to the hand, and then for the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot special summon. You can conduct up to 3 normal summons of this turn, not just 1. So on top of getting extra normal summons, your opponent can't special summon for the rest of the turn, and you basically get a turn skip, and that's absolutely insane. But that is the deck, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. He just wants to give a shout out to his team, 24K, so shout out to you guys. And yeah, I just absolutely love Flunders. I think the deck is awesome. I can't wait to see more players picking it up and just finding more success with it. It's definitely a great choice in this format, especially with Scythe kind of running the format. You don't care about Scythe, and you're just able to play your game and just kind of control everything, and I think it's awesome. But yeah, hashtag Bird Gang, you guys already know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Give the video a thumbs up if you did. I'll see you guys in the next deck profile. Thank you for watching.